Welcome back. Jacqui Pepper with Feng Shui by Jacqueline Albert Pepper here. Stephanie and I thought it would be a great idea, since I get so many questions about what is a reading? What's a reading like? What can I expect? What does it feel like? So we thought, let's put it on videotape and show you what a quick reading might look like. And the reason I say quick is because interpretations can take up to an hour in front of a client. And for simplicity reasons today, I want to give you an example of what a reading might be. So today we're going to do an astrology reading in Chinese. We're going to do the Batsu, or the Natal Chart, otherwise known as 4-pillar astrology. And we're going to talk a little bit about Stephanie's Ming Kwa numbers, or birth star numbers. So let's get started. When I was looking in my Chinese ephemeris, so for Chinese astrology, we use an ancient Chinese ephemeris like this. And as I shared with you in the past, I read, write, and speak Chinese for feng shui purposes only. So I read the ancient text, called an ephemeris. It's a calendar with ancient text, but the calendar itself is obviously up to date. And I gather everybody's birth information from this, and we do a chart that can look similar to that. And it's in Chinese and English, and then there's an interpretation that we do. So I'll get started with Stephanie's chart today. Today we're doing her Ming Kwa numbers, and they are a 5 earth, an 8 earth, and a 2 earth. What I was sharing with Stephanie, and Stephanie, jump in here, we'll go over it a little bit, is that all this earth tells me that Stephanie is a big time caretaker, and she loves to take care of others and nurture others. However, what it also tells me is that we need to be mindful with all that earth, that she doesn't take care of others to the deficit of her own health. So what we are always mindful for in feng shui and Chinese astrology is, where can we strike the balance? That's what we're always looking for. And it is based on 5-element theory. So 5 earth, 8 earth, and 2 earth, they all happen to be yang as well. The yin yang comes into play, Stephanie, when we're looking at this. And with all that yang energy, it shows me that you're very active in the nurturing and the earth caretaking. And so therefore we say to clients like this, make sure your oxygen mask is on first and your love cup full before you go ahead and nurture and take care of others. Also, what I talked to Stephanie about is that she is born in the year of metal horse. Basically, what a Batsu chart is it's a 4-pillar astrology. We're looking at the 4 pillars of life: your year, your month, your day, and your hour of birth. If you don't have your hour specifically, like Stephanie did not, we can take from a 2-hour window time frame if you have a sense of at least the hour maybe you were born, a close proximity to that 2-hour window. So for Stephanie, she ended up with a metal horse year, an earth rabbit career second column. And as I explained, after puberty, the Chinese believe that our day really is the story that tells us more about ourselves after puberty than the year that you were born, as most people know the year. So Stephanie is a water sheep. And what I was telling her about water is that it's very intuitive, it's very multifaceted, it's probably one of the elements that connects more with intelligence. Given that sheep energy, she can be a little sheepish. She has to be mindful that she speaks her own truth, and in so doing, gets heard. Sometimes what happens, and Stephanie and I were talking about this, is that we are raised against what our natal chart, the stars that were aligned at the time of our birth, say about us. And as a matter of fact, I was telling to Stephanie that often happens because most parents are not intuitive at a young age to have an insight into self like the chart does, so that we can raise our children with a little better understanding of where they're coming from, as opposed to imposing our wishes on them. But that's human nature, and it happens. And I would say for most of us, we were probably raised against type. or at least when we got to the public school system and other systems within our culture, that can also shape us as well. So what I was saying is she needs to be mindful that she's not sheepish, i.e. the year of the sheep that she was born, the day of the sheep that she was born, and she needs to be mindful of her truth. We also looked at having Earth Rabbit in her career column, her second column, the month she was born, really tells me with more of that Earth, and she's apprenticing now and working on her 4th year in Doctor of Oriental Medicine, so in acupuncture. When we see that for her career, it's a great career choice for her to be a healer. She's got the rabbit, which is in touch with the moon energy, very intuitive in the career column, and she's got that earth, that nurturing energy we talked about, very helpful, healing, and nurturing. But again, when it's at an imbalanced state, in overabundance of all that earth energy, we have to be mindful that Stephanie doesn't take care of others to her detriment. Again, that's why we put our oxygen mask on first before taking care of others and assessing the situation. So there's a reason they say that. Anyway, I love that term. So Stephanie, we also found out, had an overabundance of wood in her chart. Again, these are the 5-element theory that we're working from in Chinese medicine on her astrology chart. And being the day of water, she then has wood as her career and or children energy, and fire as her money energy, and earth as her relationship and or reputation and standing energy. And then last but definitely not least, metal energy is her nurturing, her teacher, her parent energy. And what we realized is that she's overabundant in wood element, which is that liver energy and planning and decision making, but it's also connected to the liver, which in overabundance, when you're at an imbalanced state, could bring about anger, could bring about feeling curt. Again, if the oxygen mask is on first and you've got your love cup full, then that wood energy in an imbalanced state, or a state when it might feel imbalanced, actually comes together in a balanced way, because you have a self-understanding of the elements for yourself. We also talked about how metal tends to not be very strong in her chart. So we want to look at balancing the metal and the wood energies in her chart. And we've given her water as her vital element, her self element. We went with like on that one, kind of a homeopathic support. And we also added fire as her secondary element. In this situation, Stephanie has 2 vital elements that are of concern for her. I think that's about where I want to stop here for today, and really just gives you a sense of what a chart and insight into self may look like. For time's sake here, we didn't go into a full interpretation of a chart, and again, this is just someone's natal chart and Ming Kwa or birth star numbers. This is the small package if you're doing Chinese astrology. Right now we're running a special between now and Mercury in retrograde, which ends December 6th, and we're giving 10% off gift certificates or readings for the holiday season. So get in touch with me on Facebook. That's Feng Shui by Jacqui and Albert Pepper, or you can get in touch with me through that Facebook page via email. Thanks so much for being with me today. I hope that helped give you a better understanding of what a Chinese astrology reading looks like. Love and light, and you do you.